Alright, hello everyone. Uh, I think I'm online now? Okay, yeah, I think I'm online. Hi everyone, if anyone's here. Bear with me, I'm just still figuring this out a little bit. I haven't really streamed myself before. But I think it's up and running now. I think it's good. Wait, can I see how many people are watching? Okay, hey Snake, I see a chat. I see someone in the chat. Perfect. Okay. Well, it's good to know I'm online. Hopefully you can hear me and everything. I take it you can hear me. So let me know in the chat if you can hear anything. Um, But yeah, anyways, I'm Barnwall, if anyone doesn't know. And I'm going to kind of do what Matt the Lesser did a while back. I don't know when he's last done them, but... Oh, I think he's done some for like the Madness League and other things. But I'm going to kind of just walk through some of my turn-based games that's in the Terra Mystica Thursday League, the TMTL, and just kind of walk through my own thoughts. I don't know, I just wanted to kind of share with other people, and I thought it'd be fun. Get me out of my own head a little bit with them too, which will be good. So I've got BJ open. I've got things all lined up. Some chats. Okay. So they're all the games are in auction right now, and the five of us in the league. It's myself. It's Felipe, FireX, Mellison, and also George Shortwell is not in this game. I'm also very overtime here, but it's fine. Everyone's cool with it, so it's okay. Um, but yeah, this is actually probably the most complicated game. I'm just gonna dive into this one here. So this is on Fire and Ice. We have Fire and Ice factions, so we have Yetis in and Acolytes in the game here, as well as Halflings and Darklings. And we have extra endgame scoring, which is edge scoring here. I have to say, I'm really rusty with endgame scoring. I haven't played with it in a long time, so I don't know how my evaluations are going to be, especially in fast auction, trying to figure it all out at once. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. But I have looked into the games before, so I do know the general setup and things. Although this game I say I looked at the least. I'd also like to, maybe before I get into this, I'd like to change it so I can see the chat with you guys still seeing the stream, but I didn't really plan that very well. Maybe I can quickly deal with that. I don't know how. I'll figure it out another time. I'll just check for now. Or if anyone in the chat has any ideas, you can just tell me. Actually, wait. Sorry, just so quickly. Can you still see the stream while I do this, or the BGA screen? Oh, I guess you can kind of see it. It looks like it's picture in picture. All right, whatever. I won't worry about it. I'll just occasionally jump to the chat. You can just see the whole screen. It's awkward. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Snake. We have acolytes. Woo. Okay, great. That's good, Skimmy. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. By the way, who's coming in now? All right, yeah, in this game, so the big thing is edge scoring and also round 4 digs, which halflings and darklings certainly love. Acolytes love for the coins, and yetis can use them well, at least in theory, as well. So it's kind of a funny thing that everyone has some potential there. The bonuses, we're missing the big building tile, we're missing the TP tile, and missing coin cult step. So of those, the big building tile is definitely the most influential on the game. Particularly for, I think, Yetis and Darklings and maybe Acolytes. I don't know, I'm pretty rusty with Fire and Ice too, so this game might be a little bit of a crapshoot. But the big thing is edge scoring, and that can really influence kind of starting spots and stuff like that. So I'm looking at Darklings, for example, and you wouldn't normally start on the edge of the map, but maybe they do here, maybe it makes sense for them. For Yetis, I think it's less likely. You're red and you want a lot of leech, you're probably starting in the center. 2 of these center 4 red hexes at least. And same for Acolytes, they're kind of good with edge scoring in general because they can dig a lot more flexibly, because they don't really follow the color wheel in the same way. But I don't really know, I mean, I don't know how they'd really use it that well this game. And Halflings can do well on the edge, but Darklings kind of take some of their territory if they want. So it's a bit hard to say how that's going to all play out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at this again now. I'm not super high in Acolytes because the cult rewards aren't really great until later. The early spades don't do anything for them. They start with what? Darklings start with a spade, maybe? Acolytes start with a priest. It's a good start for them. And then Halflings get Temp Ship or Work of Power, and Yetis probably take the other one. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely the least confident in this game and evaluating this game. hmm. I mean, I can also just evaluate by what looks the most fun to me, right? Like, Yetis look kind of fun. You should be able to get a lot of leech starting in the center. There's the risk of getting Pokeballed, but when they get completely surrounded, like when Red gets completely surrounded in the center on fire and ice. But they have their first action, like, or they're in the first seat, so they get first action. So you can dig C5, this yellow hex right away. You can kind of get out of there. But they might get surrounded. But then this isn't a great start for Acolytes either, this C4 hex. Well, they could take D6. But it's kind of awkward for them. Huh. Yeah, I really don't know here. I mean, Darklings have to be pretty good with round 4 digs, right? Like, I'm sure they have a good game in them. Even though Fire and Ice isn't their greatest map. They presumably start with a Spade. Or they could start Temp Ship and do some shenanigans with that. But I think there's also network considerations and cults. Like, Acolytes get a lot of cults, but then lose a lot of cult steps, so the endgame cult scoring is kind of... I think Yetis can do really well in cults here. So I don't know, I kind of like Yetis, I think. I'm just going to click in the chat quickly. Oh, second device. Yeah, that would have been smart. Yeah, I don't want to read too much about like other people's opinions in the game, so I'll try to like avoid those comments, I guess. Like, I'd like to chat about it with other people, but because it's competitive, I guess I don't want to look too hard into it or look too closely at other people's opinions. Yeah. Okay, let's just say Yetis are like at least 10 points better. The Darklings are like at least 8. Of course, Halflings will round 4 digs. I don't know. My gut feeling is that Acolytes are worst here, but I'm not even 100% confident in that. Okay, looking one more time at the bonuses. So there's 2 scoring bonuses, Dwelling VP and Ship VP. Halflings like both those. The presence of Ship VP is actually interesting, because really only Halflings like that, I'd say. Darklings don't really... I don't know, it's not great for Darklings. Yetis rather need to dig over shipping, like they always need to dig regardless, so they don't advance shipping until later. At least not past like 1 ship. Acolytes, I guess, could advance shipping earlier, but I don't know, probably not until like round 5 when they get this big coin influx. So Ship VP is kind of a nice little thing for Halflings. But of course, Halflings and Darklings are color neighbors, so they get in each other's way a bit. I don't know. I think this game's like a crapshoot to me. I'm just gonna just bet on who I want to play. So yeah, Yetis look pretty fun. Darklings look good with edge scoring. There's probably some funky start they could do, even though I'm not sure what it would be. I guess in the Northwest, there's a lot of edge hexes here for Darklings to build on. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of liking Darklings more now, thinking about that. Halflings, so if Halflings open with Temp Ship to get anywhere interesting... Huh. I don't know, I'm less keen on them for some reason. I don't know if I should be. I feel like on Fire and Ice, they have a bit more trouble hitting round 4 digs. Like, they just don't have quite... It takes a bit more for them to get going on Fire and Ice. The early Cold Wards, I guess they could use well. But, I mean, Acolytes will get the first Priest to call. Like, they're definitely taking the Priest to open. And I'm pretty sure Darklings are not taking the Priest. Like, Darklings would take the Spade over the Priest, I would think. So, yeah, I feel like Darklings are pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite buy Acolytes, and Halflings I have some concerns with. Let's go, like, Darklings 10. I'm going to say Halflings are better than Acolytes. Sorry, it's probably isn't the greatest analysis here, but fast auction's a lot for me. It's a lot at once. So trying to figure out all the evaluations, especially with extra endgame scoring, is a bit of a mind... well, I won't say that, but it kind of blows the mind a little bit. I think about Yetis I'm concerned about is I don't know how they're going to do an edge scoring. Like, they want to start in the middle of the map. And I guess they can come down here to the edge, but Darklings or Halflings could cut them off there. Yeah, they can do well in cults and I guess network in contrast, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. They're also again they're missing the big building tile though, which is nice for them. It's not be all end all, but it's good. As well as the TP tile. They actually like having TPs up sometimes. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're not that good here. Acolyte's just the early cult wards until around 3 and 4 are bad. Um, and edge scoring is awkward unless they start like their second dwelling on the edge, but I doubt they're going to do that. I mean, I guess temp ships in the games they can kind of get around without having to advance shipping too early. I don't know. Darklings are definitely like a safe pick. Like I'm sure they can have a good game here with edge scoring, with round 4 digs. Like they could probably sneak some cold points in too with acolytes being in the game. So I might bid them down a little more here. Um, time to bring out the alter ego Tommy Salami. I don't know if Tommy's gonna have too much better in this game. um, oh, sorry, can't see the boards. Hopefully, you can see them now, Jekyll. I was switching around. Landscapes are off for this game, so I don't think any of our games have fire and ice factions and landscapes. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think landscapes are off for all of our games. Um, okay, I mean, I kind of want to just make a decision here. I don't really want to. I've got other games to get to. I don't want to take too long doing this. Mm, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to bid halflings down a little more. Yeah, I mean, they also have their inherent scoring as do darklings, which is nice. I don't know. I worry a bit about acolytes, to actually score enough points as well as other concerns I have with them. But they do start with a priest. That's pretty good. Maybe do a couple more ticks on darklings. A swing, interesting swing here maybe is d6. Like, it'd be nice for darklings to get that hex for themselves, even if it doesn't town them. Just easy connection and it's a lot of leech. So if acolytes kind of take that hex first action, that's a bit of a swing in the game. Which I guess they could. Would they? I really have no idea. It's also possible darklings start with temp ship, but I think they would start with the spade. Like if they're on d5 here, they'll have first access to the top left part of the map anyways. How well can Yetis hit round 4 digs? That's another question. Like I don't think I've played a digging Yetis game with hitting round 4 digs before, so I'm not like very familiar with that. But there's no like great cult rewards here for them to really like boost their economy before then. And again, like yeah, lack of workers in the big building tiles. I don't really see a huge like round 4 dig round until like I don't know. I see like some concerns for them in that sense. All right, I might just be ready to commit here just to move on. I don't really know how my evaluations are. Like I have no clue. Let's just do it. Let's let's end the auction. Let's end my torture. Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. Wow. So I got halflings at 40. Felipe ended up with acolytes at 40. Kind of like I expected acolytes at 40. Fire X is darklings at 31, and Melson is yetis at 35. Okay. A little off from my evaluations. I won't spend too much time in here because I want to move on, but I am curious if everyone else where everyone else had like halflings, because I'm a bit surprised I got them at 40. Uh, oh, this takes me too long to figure out on the fly. While the stream's going on and everything too. Did everyone else have? Oh no, everyone does their fast auction differently, right? Like FireX bids everything down to 0, or bids the best faction down to 0. Okay, it's gonna take too long for me to figure out. So whatever. We got halflings here. Um, I don't know how the game's gonna be. I'm gonna try to think about if there's any like interesting strategies as well for my starting spots. Like I don't know if I want to start double center or if I start one in the south here. The nice thing is I place my second dwelling after Darkling, so I can kind of see what like I can start with the usual hex, which is probably whatever this brown hex is here. I don't have indexes on. I probably should for the stream. Let's do that. Yeah, if you can't, in case you can't tell, this is a little haphazard. I'm not like fully prepared for this. Yeah. Anyways, I'll probably start like my first dwelling on D8, see where Darklings go, and then maybe place H4 my second dwelling and just go for like a lot of edge scoring on the bottom and on the right part of the map here. Like if Darklings place double sender. Um, I don't know, kind of react to what FireX does a bit. Okay, I feel okay with that, because I ship DP is going to be a really nice source of points for halflings this game, as well as round 4 digs, and I think I can do well in edge scoring, so like, those three things in combination, plus some cult points, like I probably won't do well in network, but those three things in particular I think can be a good game, so yeah, after all that auction stress, I feel okay at least. We'll see. Okay, gonna move on to another game. All right, on the other fast auction, great. So we have 2 fast auctions and 2 slow auctions in my game at least. This is kind of fun though because everyone else is again has bid, so it's all up to me to decide. In this game, I've already looked at quite a bit more. I think I actually submitted bids already, then kind of unsubmit them so I could look at it again at the stream. But I had like a general idea of what I was gonna do here. So this is Fjords. In this game, there's no extra scoring. And we have Darklings, Dwarves, Nomads, and Witches. And then we have George Shortwell instead of Melissa in this game. So yeah, I didn't really say before, but obviously this is turn-based Division 1. We got like 5 really strong players. And funny enough, it's kind of like a throwback to the Fjords League, which was a thing on Snellman back 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. I guess 2 years ago, I think, but it was like a turn-based league on Snellman where we played a bunch of games on Fjords, and a bunch of these guys, we were all, I think everyone except for Felipe, we were like all mainstays in the Fjords League, along with Matt the Lesser, MTL as well. It was kind of like we were kind of 5 of the big players in it, so it's kind of funny to have a bit of a reunion, I guess, in this league. Anyway, speaking of Fjords, we're on Fjords here. We've got, as I said, Darklings, Dwarves, Nomads, Witches. So Dwarves and Witches are the color neighbors, none for Nomads and Darklings. The kind of key points here are this game we have round 3 digs, which immediately is nice for Darklings. A relatively high scoring track. I think round 6 temples can be sneaky high scoring because they can lead to, or they at least swing the cults a lot. But if you go big econ, a lot of the time you'll have like a bunch of dwellings and TPs out before round 6, and you're kind of just ready to plop down a couple temples anyways. And maybe you can take Air 1, another kind of Fire 2, and good favors that can help you score more. So that could be good. Like for big econ factions. And here, clearly Nomads with no color neighbor is the big econ faction. And they're even bigger economically because I'm pretty sure they're going to start with big building in this game, the big building bonus tile. So looking at the bonuses, we have all 4 scoring bonuses in. We're missing the Spade, we're missing Coin Cult Step, and we're missing Worker Power. Yeah. So all 4 scoring bonuses, like again, great for Nomads. No color neighbor, and they're getting lots of leech from green, from gray, from black. Like that all looks great for Nomads. And they should be able to start with their stronghold on the big building tile, and so I like them a lot here. I'm just going to immediately kind of do 12 points down. Actually, probably even a little more. The reason why I think they're getting the big building tile is I'm pretty sure Witch is open with Temp Ship. Like, especially with Dwarves in the game, I do feel like they want to secure territory, and the power might help them get double dig. So another interesting kind of point in this game is that it's not clear which faction's getting double dig. Like, all the factions have 7 power to start, and Darklings don't want it, so Dwarves and Witches would certainly love it. But Nomads don't really want it if they're on the big building tile, so it's one of the two, and I think Witches taking Temp Ship pretty much secures them double dig to start the game. So I think it's very likely Witches take Temp Ship. So yeah, all that being said, I like Nomads. I think I'd even go... I'll stay at 14 points. I don't know, maybe I'll adjust it a bit. Darklings, like, round 3 digs is so nice for them, but there's some other problems here. I was looking at the game, I kind of realized. The first problem for them is they don't get a great starting bonus. So presumably Witches, in my mind at least, Witches take Temp Ship. Dwarves, or Nomads take Big Building, and Dwarves take Priest, is like the way I think it's going to go down. And then that leaves Darklings with like either power from Chip BP, a worker, 6 coins, nothing really very good for the start. Which isn't always a big deal, but on Fjords, like, Darklings need to kind of compete for territory quickly, I find. Like, especially if Witches are getting double dig, they could take F7 from them, take G6 from them, and it kind of makes their game a lot more awkward. So I'm a little hesitant because of that. Another thing is there's no great early cult rewards for them to hit. Like they love early workers with a big building round. Round 3 coins is great, but I think they need their priest to dig here. I think they need to secure territory. So I'm a little worried for them in that kind of part of the things. They can start G8 and take F7 first action, but then they might lose G6. They probably get H4, because if Nomad's open Stronghold, they're not going to prioritize H4. But yeah, I just see Darkling start being kind of slow, which is a little weird with no colored neighbors, but it's the way Fjords work sometimes. Is like sometimes it's worse to have someone that's like 2 colors away from you than a direct color neighbor. Sorry, I should stop right clicking. It's a weird habit I have sometimes, I think. Gotta remember I'm on stream here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love. I mean, their Darklings are probably still like a few points better than Dwarves and Witches, but not super clear to me. I'll just put them down 4 for now. And then between Dwarves and Witches, I wasn't sure which one I liked more. So for Dwarves, like, looking at pros and cons. For Dwarves, like, the upside is they have double Earth rewards, which is great for them. A downside is that both shipping tiles are in the game, which they can't use very well. They're missing a spade bonus. Even worker power is pretty good for them. Upside is this worker cult reward, which there's a decent chance they can hit pretty well for some extra workers. Downside is that witches, if they go stronghold early, are going to be able to kind of secure a lot of territory and make dwarves connection life very difficult. So dwarves might be resigned to like more of a culty kind of don't worry about connection, just go culty game, which can work really well for them. Especially with the early earth rewards, like their economy can really snowball nicely. They're also getting plenty of leech with darklings being in the game, with nomads in the game, like gray and yellow have this really nice synergy on fjords. So like I like dwarves, they look pretty strong. Witches, on the other hand, so if they open with temp ship, they're getting, I think, likely getting double dig, which is pretty good for them. But it's really swingy because it kind of depends what darklings do. I think for witches, they really want F7. That's a big hex for them. Even if they don't get F6, just having that extra hex in the middle there really helps. And so if darklings take that first action, I'm a lot like lower on witches than if witches are able to get that with double dig in round 1. So that in itself is a big swing for them. A nice thing for them, of course, is the air spade reward here in round 2. That they could probably use it. Another nice thing is all the scoring bonuses, like witches will probably build a lot, so they can score points with that throughout the game, of course. Yeah, I kind of like. I feel like I like dwarves slightly better, but I'm not totally sure. One thing that's nice for dwarves here is that there's a lack of cult competition, and especially if dwarves start with a priest, which I think is likely. Like, witches definitely aren't taking priests. If anyone takes a priest, it'd be nomads, but I don't think they will. Well, I guess witches could take big building. I'm not 100% sure they would take temp ship. I just know I would if I was witches. But anyways, I think dwarves is a good chance to start with a priest and have a really good cult game here. You can score a lot of cult points against these factions. Whereas witches are going to be fighting nomads on network, and nomads without any color neighbor with stronghold opening are going to have a great network game. So that's going to be kind of a challenge for witches. So I think I'm talking myself into dwarves above witches here, like despite the shipping bonuses being in. It's just that is a downside for dwarves for sure. Like it's not a great bonus combo for them. They would really like to have a spade in here, like, and yeah, worker power is not bad for them too. Um, I'd bid dwarves a bit below witches. I also kind of just want to play dwarves more than witches. I don't really know why. I get weird kind of feelings. For some reason, dwarves seem fun to me. I guess they seem like they'll have a good economy no matter what, which is always fun. Giving dwarves a few points down. Honestly, maybe I should have darklings lower. I might be a little bit too low on them. Like if they can get still things can go well for them in the opening, and they can have a really good game here. Like if they can connect and compete for network as well, it could be good. Although again, pretty tough against nomads, I think here, and maybe against witches. Eh, seems reasonable enough to me. I don't know. I guess I could have darklings lower, but in fast auction, like I think there's a good chance that other people will have darklings lower than me. So, well, but someone else might have witches higher, like lower than dwarves. So that's kind of an interesting trade-off. Like I would jump the dwarves, and then someone else might have to jump the witches early. So then darklings would get a good valuation. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't. Aside from round 3 digs, it doesn't strike me as like a great track for darklings. Like it's fine. I'm sure they can make do. All right, I'll commit quickly. Let me just look at chat and see if there's anything interesting I missed. Um, oh, thanks, Gibby, for putting all the evaluations from the last the last auction. That's actually really helpful. Yeah, and Elo still no clue exactly. I'm not even that good. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. All right, I won't look too much more. I don't want to spoil anything. Um, I should probably have Darklings a bit lower, right? I guess last thing, maybe I'll look a little more at starting spots. Like I think it's pretty straightforward, but I'll kind of talk myself through them here. Um, Darklings start at G5. I was wondering if Darklings would put their second dwelling on G3 here. I don't think I've ever actually done that, but I've seen games where it works really well. So like it's possible they could have their second dwelling in G3, but like the default is G5 and G8 for them. First we'll start, I think G4 and E8. Like I don't see them starting any differently. Witches, I was thinking F5 and F8, but witches could start F3, F5. It's something that you can do against gray that can work pretty well. I like it more when gray like places or when green places their second dwelling after gray, so you can see if gray is going to place on D1. It does depend though. Like if dwarves put their first dwelling on G4, you could go F3, F5 as witches, because then I don't think dwarves would put their second dwelling on D1. That would be really awkward for them. But the idea with that is that you get a lot of leech from nomads, so like that looks pretty good. That looks pretty fun to be able to do that as like as a secondary option. But I also think F5, F8 is perfectly good for them. Yeah, like they make a double dig, but they have really awkward towning if they can't get F7. I guess they build their stronghold round 2 and fly around and try to get a priest to air at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, so in Nomad starting spots would be F4, E7, and I'm pretty sure their third dwelling is going H5. Like they can get the C8 with their stronghold pretty easily in this matchup, so I don't see why they wouldn't put their third dwelling in H5 here. I might just go ahead and go with this here. Yeah, let's just do it. Good enough. I don't know. Okay. Let's see what happens. I think I'm going dwarves, I'm guessing. Oh no, I'm on witches, okay. Okay. That seems like I'm okay with that. Alright, so George is Nomads on 25, Fire X Darklings on 28. So I was right, other people had Darklings lower. Felipe at 36 had Dwarves, and I have Witches at 40. Alright. I kind of like, I'm fine with that. I'll quickly try to see what everyone else did. Without taking too long. But they all do it in different ways. Okay, I know George at least does it really straightforward. So George is Dwarves on 40, Darklings on 10, Witches on 20, and Nomads on 0. Yeah, he always doesn't like my multiples on 10. Like, he doesn't overthink it, which is probably nice. It's a nice quality, probably. Felipe, Witches at 12, Nomads at 4, Dwarves at 8, and Darklings at 0. Oh, he has it like the other way around, yeah. Okay. And then Fire X has Witches at 14, Nomads at 12, Dwarves at 15, and Darklings at 0. Okay, yeah. Yes, they're all much higher on Darklings than I was, and I'm curious to see how it turns out. I don't know. I'm kind of happy to have Witches at 40 here. Like, I think it's fine. I can, 4 scoring bonuses, just Witches on Fjords in general. Like, it should be able to do pretty well. Quickly pop at the Twitch chat here to see. Interesting. Okay. So let's move on again. Finally, the fast auctions are done. I can breathe. That's good. And yeah, again, it's kind of typical for me. I end up on the 40 faction a lot. I think other people, or I tend to evaluate like the spreads a lot less than other people, which I don't know if it's always a good thing. Like sometimes I probably jump too early, but I don't know. It's fun. I like somehow I like starting with more points. I'm greedy. All right, so we have halflings at 40. We have witches at 40. Oh, this auction's over. Oh, okay. Oh no, never mind. I went back to this game. I can just place D8 here, right? Just very quickly. pretty sure I'm always going on D8. I wasn't prepared to think about this decision yet. Like, yeah, I unless Darkling start on G9. Even if they do, I might be able to beat them to E6 here. Um, yeah, I don't know. I want Leech. Let's just place on D8. Okay. Now, hopefully, we can move on to one of the other games. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a little more simple. I think I already know what I'm doing in this game. It's still kind of in the fairly early stages of the auction. But basically here we're on base map, back to basics. Base map, no endgame scoring, no fire and ice faction, standard stuff. Halflings, dwarves, mermaids, and nomads. So we kind of have like it's a pretty classic matchup I think on base that I see with these colors. Is that you have blue and yellow who get along really well on base map in the west, and you have gray and brown who get along really well in the east. I've had quite a few games like this recently. So it's really a game where usually everyone does pretty well. Like it's quite a high scoring game in general. And I think this game will be fairly high scoring with the track, the way it's set up. Economic factions can hit this well. Halflings might be able to not dig bomb, but like hit round 3 digs well. Again, double earth rewards for dwarves, double water rewards for mermaids. So like lots of kind of good things for everyone here. Looking at bonuses, so we're minus big building and strong in a TP tile, like the Fire and Ice game, and then we're also missing temp ship. Okay, so you can see there's already been bidding on dwarves and mermaids. I'm just going to continue the trend. I'm just going to bid a tick on mermaids without really thinking here. I'm confident with yellow in the game, double water rewards that they're good. I don't know if they're better than dwarves. Like, dwarves are a bit a little lower. I think I started the bidding on dwarves. I really wasn't sure which is better. I just knew that they were both better than nomads and halflings. Um, yeah, maybe dwarves are probably a bit better. I think with these double earth rewards, it's like really big for dwarves, and the water spade doesn't come till later for mermaids. Like, it's still good having it in round 5, but it's not the same as having it like really early in the game. So yeah, I'd say this seems reasonable. Dwarves a few points better than mermaids. The question then is going to be when to jump to nomads or halflings. Typically, from my experience, nomads are a bit better than halflings. Like in this matchup, they just have more map control, and especially when it's a high scoring setup, they're usually a better faction when blue's in the game. But in this case, there's again no big building tile or TP tile for scoring, so it's like a good scoring track, but it's a track that halflings can hit as well too. Actually, maybe halflings can hit it better with these round 3 digs. And the round 6 big building event is not great for nomads, whereas halflings have inherent scoring, so they don't really care as much about that. And then just kind of in terms of scoring bonuses, like as I said last game, like halflings really like having ship DP and dwelling DP in the game. They like shipping early and they like getting a lot of dwellings down, so it's pretty natural for them. Whereas they don't really use the big building tile or TP tile as well as like nomads can, for example. So I maybe am going to swing more to halflings in this game than nomads. We'll see. Like the round 3 digs can be a big thing if you can hit them as halflings. There's no the cult rewards before that aren't great. Like I kind of look at that when it's a dig round to see if you can really get a bunch of resources from the cults before that, because that can be really strong. That's not really present in this game. In terms of starting bonuses and whatnot, nomads probably take spade. Mermaids probably take, I guess, a priest, because they'd like worker power could be nice for them, but I don't know if they're getting double dig with halflings. Maybe starting on the power bonus. So I'm going to say Nomad, Spade, Mermaids, Priest, Dwarves, Worker Power, and Halflings on Shifty P to open with Double Dig. That's my guess. Yeah, I think that could be pretty good for Halflings, but I definitely think Dwarves and Mermaids are better and will be bid down lower before anyone considers jumping to Halflings or Nomads here. All right, anything going on in the chat here? Let's take a peek. Bit sad that we can't discuss the setup. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Like, it'd be cool to have like a different tournament where it's like a group of people playing a turn-based game. Although that would be a lot too. That would be really hard to deal with and organize. Other things about the other map. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely more. Once you're in base map with standard auction, it's much more straightforward than when you're in Fire and Ice map with Fire and Ice factions and extra endgame scoring. It's a noticeable difference in complexity, at least for me. Okay, so let's move forward again to the last game. It's another standard auction, but this one's a bit less clear to me as to what I should be doing. So again, we're on Fjords here. We have extra endgame scoring, and it's cluster scoring, or settlement scoring this time. And we have factions in the game that love that. So we have dwarves and fakirs both in the game. And they both jump a lot, of course, have a lot of like spare dwellings around the map. So they both naturally do really well in clusters. We also have halflings again, and ice maidens. Now that I'm thinking about it, I put halflings in 2 of the games. I don't think I put halflings in the fire and ice game. I don't know, halflings are fun. But yeah, it's a lot of halflings. And in this auction, dwarves already bid down 16 points. Fakir's bid down 7 points. Ice Maiden's bid down 8 points. So now, kind of like, once 3 factions are kind of taken in the auction, it's always a question of like when to jump to the 4th faction. And here, I really don't know. Again, having the extra endgame scoring, like cluster scoring, at least for me, makes it a lot harder to evaluate. I haven't played them in a long time. I'm going to kind of figure out, hopefully, as I describe things here, though. Okay, so a couple other things to note. First of all, I didn't mention, but Ice Maidens are on blue. And that is actually, like, it's nice because they have no color neighbors, but it's kind of an awkward color for Ice Maidens on Fjords. I think it is, at least. I haven't actually played them as blue on Fjords, but it kind of just looking at the way the map is. Like, with blue terrain, there's a lot of, like, good Sanctuary Town spots. So, like, there's this stretch from F4 or E4, F3 to G3. There's, like, the G5, G6, F5 little triangle. There's the F7, G8, F8 triangle. All are kind of natural, like, 1 dig hexes, but, like, only 3 hexes. And, like, Ice Maidens really usually don't like building their Sanctuary because of their Stronghold ability, where they score points from temples on the board. And, of course, you build a Sanctuary, you're losing a temple. So it's not really natural for them to want to build a Sanctuary. It's also not the end of the world. They have to build a Sanctuary. Like, it's fine. They can probably build it round 4 here. But that part's a bit awkward. And the other part that's awkward is with dwarves in the game. Like, if you start E4 as Ice Maidens, dwarves are on G4, and they could dig F3 first action, which is pretty common for Grey to do on this map. And so that makes your game a lot more awkward as Ice Maidens. So it's a weird thing for them, where it's not super clear how the opening's going to go. I think I actually forgot to talk about the rest of the setups. Maybe I should do that before I dive into some of the intricacies. Anyways, the track here. So this is a very different track. It's a very low-scoring track. Different from the other games we've seen. These late big building events, like one of them is usually fine for scoring. When you have 2 of them, it means it's pretty low scoring. Round 5 temples is not like a really particularly high scoring event, but there is a lot of economy from the cults in this track. So there's lots of early spades, workers round 4, and then coins round 5. So any faction that can go culty can get a huge economy going here. And of these factions, that's definitely like the most tailored to Ice Maidens. But then there's cluster scoring in the game, which is much more tailored to dwarves and fakirs. And even halflings than Ice Maidens. Like, again, like as an ice faction, Ice Maidens want to dig more than ship. And so it's just natural for them to not have a lot of clusters. So a bit of a weird like discrepancy there. With the bonuses, so we're missing the spade bonus again. I think 3 of the 4 games are missing the spade bonus. And also the TP tile is missing again too. So yeah, a lot of the same things. But anyways, we're missing the spade, the TP tile, and the what's the 4th one we're missing? Oh, ship DP, the other scoring tile. Okay. So ship DP, like missing that is a bummer for halflings again, but you know dwarves and fakirs are thrilled it's out of the game. Ice Maidens are also pretty happy it's out of the game, I think. So really, that's just a negative for halflings. Spade missing is kind of sad for Ice Maidens, especially at 4th seat. Like starting with a spade is so nice for them. They need to dig. They have no other option like early in the game. So that's a bit sad for them and for dwarves. Like dwarves like a spade too. And then third bonus, which I already forgot. Oh, geez, what is it? I'm just drawing a blank. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's probably not. Oh, it's a TP towel. Yeah, that's not too consequential. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So yeah, basically what's happened so far is dwarves have been bid down really heavily. Not surprising. They have no color neighbor, and with cluster scoring in the game, they also have this round 2 Earth dig, which they can pretty much guarantee. Yeah, they can definitely use that. There's no Earth coin cult event here for them to hit, but there is this round 5 temple event, which is particularly good for dwarves, just because they're always sending priests to cults. Like you just don't have anything else to do with your priests as dwarves early on. Like other factions can use it too, but just dwarves always use it, and so they're always gonna get a lot of coins into round 6 here. And the round 4 workers can also be nice for them. Not guaranteed, but they might be able to use that. So like it's a pretty good dwarf setup. In terms of bonuses, so breaking that down a bit, it's a bit unclear to me how it's going to go because Ice Maidens have a couple options. The first thing for Ice Maidens, again, if they was a spade, they'd take a spade probably, but there's no spade bonus. So I'm going to guess that Ice Maidens start with Air 2 as their favor because it's just, I don't know, it's just good. Early game power is good. And it's going to let them potentially double dig. Although halflings can double dig too. But anyways, Ice Maidens have an option of taking worker power and hoping for double dig. Or they just maybe, perhaps more likely, they take a priest and get an early priest to air. And get at least one cult dig with air, maybe two. Fakirs, I think, are going to go big building tile and open double temple. That seems pretty natural to me. If the priest is left for them, they might take that. But if Ice Maidens take priest, then Fakirs almost certainly take the big building tile. Halflings are kind of interesting because halflings can take temp ship and do a bit of a dwelling rush potentially. So they can start like H4 and you can start. I'm kind of tempted about the idea of starting H4 and B2 and having maybe Ice Maidens join you in B1. It could be good for both of you. And then halflings kind of do a dwelling rush from that is an option for them. It's not like an amazing setup for a dwelling rush, but it's never that bad of a thing to do. So they could do that. They could also just start H4, E6, take temp ship, and open with a priest power action and go to 2 shipping, or like temporary 2 shipping and secure C4 quickly, as well as G7. Another interesting option. Or they just take worker power and get double dig somewhere else. Okay, so the more I talk about it, the more I think halflings open double dig, but that changes if Ice Maidens take worker power, because then Fakirs, let's say they take the big building tile, and then halflings have to be very tempted to take a priest and open with a priest to air. So kind of some interesting swings in the game. It's a bit unclear of what's like really good and what's a really bad swing for certain factions, but those kind of like halflings and Ice Maidens have some interaction, I guess, or interplay here that can kind of change what the other one does. And then lastly, dwarves probably just take whatever's left. Well, they definitely take whatever's left for them. If worker power is there, they take that. I doubt they're getting the big building tile or the priest, but if they do, they probably just take that. If temp ship is left for them, they might honestly just take temp ship and single dig F3 first action. Or if Ice Maidens are F7, they could single dig F8. I don't know, but they can get a decent opening no matter what. Like, it's not like a mind-blowing opening, but it's solid, whatever they choose to do. And so that's why I think there's been a lot of bids on dwarves too. Like the cluster scoring, of course, having a decent setup for them, but also because they're just like kind of the most stable faction here in terms of like you just know they're gonna have a decent game. But it's not clear to me like how good they are relative to the other factions here. Okay, I'm gonna think about it a little bit. Maybe just thinking like 15 seconds of silence to see where I'm leaning towards in terms of the bids here. I haven't been too high in Fakirs here because of halflings being in the game. Like the color neighbor is a bit uncomfortable for them. I didn't mention there's no landscapes in this game too. So that if landscapes were in Fakirs, I'd be been Fakirs here without really thinking. But no landscapes in the game, that changes things a lot for Fakirs. It's a big negative for them, and I guess like a relative positive for halflings. Ice Maidens, I never play with their landscape. I guess it's not as good for them, but I don't really think of their evaluation as, like with the landscape and what that would be. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so the way I see the game playing out is dwarves and Fakirs compete for top cluster scoring while halflings settle for third. Ice Maidens do the best in cults, followed by dwarves, and then halflings. In terms of network, I would think dwarves, halflings, and Fakirs compete for network while Ice Maidens go taller. Like, it just feels really natural to play a tall culty Ice Maidens game here. Like, especially with how bad the track is. It's weird when there's extra endgame scoring. Like, you're leaving a lot of points on the table, but you can also kind of score a lot of points with cults and with your stronghold later in the game. But every faction here has inherent scoring. So another interesting thing. Like, it's a very low-scoring track and a low-scoring setup. But everyone, like, no one is that bothered by that because they all score in their own way. Like, of course, dwarves and Fakirs tunnel, halflings dig and advance digs really easily, and then Ice Maidens have their stronghold. in terms of the amount of inherent scoring, like halflings have a bit less than the other factions, a bit less capability to score on their own. Um, yeah, my like I don't know if anyone's gonna jump to halflings yet. It's the other thing I'm kind of thinking about. Like I'm trying to think of players' tendencies a bit as well. I don't think George Shortwell would jump to halflings. Like I think he'd want to bid something else down. Melson I'm less sure about, but I kind of feel like he's gonna stay in Ice Maidens if I bid them. And Fire X I probably know the least of all these players, but I somehow don't know if he's gonna jump to halflings either. And I don't know. And then it's a question of like where do halflings start? Let's look at Leech as well, because that's something I haven't talked about. Dwarves, again, probably just start G4 and E8. Again, yellow in the game, so gray and yellow get a lot of Leech. They give a lot of Leech to each other. Fakirs might actually start H5, just to protect that hex from halflings. It's a bit of a risk, though, because they might lose F4, so maybe not. Yeah, and with Ice Maidens in the game, they probably start F4 and just give up H5. It's a bit sad for Fakirs to have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super high on Fakirs. Like, I don't think I'm bidding on Fakirs here. It's just the other three factions I'm a bit unsure about. Anyway, so yeah, Dwarves are in first seat too, so they get a lot of Leech. Ice Maidens, yeah, they start in F7, they get good Leech. There's kind of this nice Leech triangle here. And they're probably starting somewhere here. Like, yeah, again, the big swing is where Halflings start. Like, if Halflings start B2 and Ice Maidens join them in B1, like, I know it sounds crazy, but it kind of makes sense for both factions to do. Or it could make sense. Like, it's a pretty easy town spot for Ice Maidens. But I get the problem for Ice Maidens is that Halflings can just dig A2 before they can. But would they? Because if Halflings start in H4, and if they want to dig, they need to, like, if they want to connect, they'd want to double dig H3, so they wouldn't actually take A2 first. But then Dwarves could single dig H3 first action. There's a lot of moving parts here. The 10 thing, I think I'm going to bid on Dwarves under tick, just like a safe bid. I think I can bid them down more and not be too worried about overbidding them. I think it's fine. I think they're going to do well in clusters. They're going to do pretty well in cults. They should be able to get most of their territory. Yeah, let's bid dwarves down another tick. I'm not confident enough in another faction's game plan yet to bid them. Wait, let me let me look at Ice Maids a little more. um, uh, okay, what can Ice Maids do here? I mean, they're gonna get a lot of spades from the cults. Like that is really nice. I remember, like, I looked at the setup before this, and one thing I thought about Ice Maids that could be good is going Water 2. If you start with Air 2, well, if you start with Air 2 and start with Worker Power, you'd go Water 2, but I feel like Ice Maids probably start with the Priest. It's probably a better bonus for them, now that I'm kind of talking about it more. Like, I think Worker Power only makes sense if you're guaranteed Double Dig, and I think Halflings would take Double Dig here. I think they would. Like, especially with the color neighbor, I imagine Halflings want to secure territory quickly. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem with Ice Maids. They're not getting early spades. Like, I know the Priest of Air is nice, but and they're getting a lot of cult digs. But if they're not getting spades throughout, like they're not getting like a good influx of workers early. I think there's a decent chance dwarves end up in worker power here, and they can just single dig first action. Like, again, not a dream opening for them, but it's solid. There's cluster scoring. Like, they're going to connect, pretty much guaranteed. They maybe could like dig bomb or something. Well, probably not. Not with cluster scoring. They probably just want to build structures. Else of interest here that I'm not thinking of. Let me look at the track. Round 2 town. I don't think anyone's hitting that, so it's kind of irrelevant. Definitely not Fakirs. Definitely not Ice Maidens. Definitely not Dwarves. And Halflings have to do something crazy to hit it, I think. I guess they could, like... No, I'm not even going to talk about Stronghold stuff from Halflings. That's not smart. Okay, yeah, there's round 2 town. Round 3 TPs. There's no TP tile in, so I don't see anyone like really do anything like really interesting off of that. Factions maybe upgrading to a temple. Like Ice Maidens probably go temple like round 3 into Stronghold round 4. It's a pretty natural combination for them. Um, Big building round 4. I'm sure like dwarves will build their sanctuary. They could also build Stronghold potentially around the big building tile. Yeah, the big balloon tile is interesting too. Like that's maybe that's something I should consider more. That's like good for ice maidens for sure. The workers are nice for them. For heroes, it's good to get them off to a good start. Again, I think it's not as good for halflings, but they can still use it. And dwarves, the workers are great for. So it's I think it's a bit of a swing for ice maidens and dwarves over the other two factions, especially halflings. No shift DP in the game. Again, I said it's kind of sad for halflings. Yeah, I don't quite see. I think I'm gonna bid dwarves down another tick. I wouldn't mind being a bit off them, but I'm gonna go with the safe bid for now. Yeah, hmm. We'll see. I could be overbidding them. I'm not really sure. Like there's no spade coin whatever cult reward here that would really be helpful for them. So it's not like a perfect game for dwarves for sure. But I don't know. I feel good enough bidding on them, and I kind of think I'm gonna get bid off them anyways. Personally, I'd probably like to play halflings because again, 40-point faction. Uh, I also just like halflings on fjords. I think they're really fun on fjords. There's a lot of like different options you can do. I don't think they're actually that bad on fjords. They're just not the easiest to play. Like at least for myself, I've had a lot of good halfling games on fjords in this turn-based TMTL uh, in previous seasons, basically. So I'm kind of hoping for another one here, but I don't think the price is like right just yet. Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, I've been on dwarves. That's decided. All right. Anyways, that's all the games. Um, I've got like a few other games that I don't. I'll go to them quickly. Whatever. Why not? While I'm here, I might as well just play all my moves. I might not talk about these too much because some people might be listening in the game, so I don't want to spoil anything for them. But I also just kind of want these games to finish so I can focus on the TMTL games. I've got a bit too much going on right now. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay. Oh, so here I'm, here I'm Swarmlings on Fjords. This is near the end of the game. This is round 5. Facing Rudy, Mellison, and Deranged. Standard, there's no extra end team scoring or anything. You can kind of see for yourself how things are going. I don't know, everyone's doing pretty well. I'm not going to talk about my future plans here in case Deranged is watching the stream. Mellison's in the league, so he shouldn't be watching. I guess Rudy could be watching, but I feel like Deranged is the most likely to watch. But anyways, I will say that I'm going to stall for his pass tile. That's pretty clear. I'm on the TP tile right now. I want his big building tile, so I'm going to stall for that. I have advanced digging, so I can do that pretty easily. The big question I have, which I guess I would reveal, big question I have is if I should build a dwelling this round or wait for all of them until next round. I don't totally know yet. I'm probably going to decide later, but for now I'm going to delay a bit. So I'm going to dig somewhere. Just deciding where to dig. So I could dig F1 or I1. Those are hexes I'm going to want anyways. I could also dig I4 to get through to I5. I mean, I guess I'll dig I4 once. Then figure out the rest later. Sounds like a good plan to me. Okay. Cool. And then this last game, what is this? I don't even remember this game. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm Orin on Fire and Ice in this game, facing Ryan the Man, Skimmy Moons, and T. Clifton. You know what? I don't know what I'm gonna do in this game. I gotta think about it. So I think I'm gonna actually end it here. I need some food. This is just a fun game. There's nothing on the line here. Um, I don't know. I'm very worried about connecting. I think I did not play as well at all, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm not gonna bother going into this game. So thanks everyone who watched. Thanks for coming in here. Hopefully it was interesting or informative or fun or whatever. I kind of liked it, although it was a bit stressful trying to figure out fast auction evaluations like on the fly and not wanting to take too long. But I think those two fast auctions, like I'm pretty happy with the results for them. Like I need to figure out a better, like a plan, a more concrete plan for halflings in a Fire and Ice game because I think there's some good decisions and bad decisions. Like I can make some bad decisions and screw it up. I think. Whereas Witches on Fjords, I think it's a bit more straightforward at least. but yeah, anyways, I'll call it here. I'm gonna try to do another stream like within the next week. Uh, at the latest next weekend. It might be like on Friday or something. But we'll see. I'll try to make this a semi-regular thing at least during the for the duration of the turn-based games or the tournament. So yeah, thanks everyone again, and see you next time.